All right, my lovers, sexy listeners, hotties and baddies, welcome back to Big in a Small Town podcast, episode 8, with your hosts, Daniel Black and
Nevada Gibson.
So, in episode 8, Nevada, what is it that we're going to be sharing here today?
Well, what is our podcast about?
That's a great question. Big in a Small Town podcast. Here we talk a lot about personal growth, living boldly, and how to break the barriers of the environment that surrounds you.
Period.
So now that we've gotten that settled.
In case you're new here, on episode 8 today, we are going to be talking about the cost of success.
Oh, yeah.
Success is costly. It costs different things. Money, time, etc., etc. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the etc. today. But first, of course, we would love to play a little game. If you're new here, we love to play a game every time. It's called Gay or Sick in the Head. And I was given a recommendation to explain the game for new listeners in case you're just joining us. So we like to determine things sometimes. It could be a situation, person, place, thing. And we will call it either gay or sick in the head. Anything to add?
No, essentially these are just questionable behaviors that either could warrant something, a characteristic in a gay person, or something in someone actively in a crash out doing something a little bit psychotic.
That was a really good explanation.
I think that's the simplest way that I've ever thought to say it.
That we're gonna transcribe that and put that in the description because I really like that in the description.
Now, I would have a few gay or sick in the heads that I'd like to share. One of them I think is really juicy, and the others I think are just your standard sicknesses or gaynesses. The first is, do you think it's more gay or more sick in the head to arrive late to every event, including a flight?
God.
I know. I think it's a little tough.
For me, that's gay behavior. I think it is, like, I do see the sickness in the head part about it. Like, a lot of people with ADHD or ADD or even people with time management skills.
Like, where they just show up late to the airport and they're like, it's fine.
Yeah, that... oh, God. Oh, that is a toss-up. That is a toss-up. Because my first thought would be it's just gay.
That's my first thought immediately, yeah.
It's gay. Like, the gays are always late. When I go to a gay event, I'll show up on time. Nobody's there.
No one's there.
No one's there yet. I've even seen videos of, like, I'm throwing a party and only queer people are coming, and this is the time the party starts, and this is the time they all arrive. And literally the first person arrived is like already 15 minutes late, and it's like literally a birthday dinner. I'm like, that's, yeah, absolutely gay. But I could see the sick, there are a lot of people sick in the head who don't get to places on time, but I'm thinking of those people now, and they are also gay. Like, all the people that show up late are also the gay ones.
Yeah, I think something about gay people is, like, they show up late, but they leave even later.
They overstay.
You could show up 15 minutes late and leave 2 hours after you're supposed to have left.
Yeah.
Hence, probably why you're late.
They're somewhere else. Overstaying. And it made them late to the next event.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay, now I have another one. Also, I was thinking about flights, and I don't know, something about this I think is, like, could be gay, but could be sick in the head.
Okay.
It's, I don't know, getting drunk on a plane.
Oh, that's fun. Drunk on a plane. I'd say sick in the head for that.
That's kind of what I was thinking with that one.
I would say it's sick in the head because
You're willing to get a little bit sick. potentially
Yeah.
on the flight. You're like, I could throw up maybe.
It's
or
almost a
get
literal
dizzy.
version.
Yeah.
It's literal. It's a literal. You're sick in the head because you are drinking and you're in the air and your head, like the alcohol is going to your brain. And now you're sick in the head because you're drunk on the plane. But also, in order to get drunk on the plane, it's just a sick time. Like, it's a sick, fun time.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I do think that like a lot of gays, I'm sure, would love to do this. Probably do. But I think more like the sickness. I think it's universal in that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're getting like, I was transitioning this one into another one.
Okay.
Okay. Pre-gaming before bottomless mimosas.
Dear God, what the fuck? Did you do this? Who did this? Or you just thought of it?
I'm not going to admit to anything.
Oh my God, you little sicko. Pre-gaming to bottomless mimosas is crazy. That's sick. No explanation needed. Why do you need a pre-game to the bottomless mimosas? You're going to black out before you even get there. You're going to be black before you get your first mimosa.
I thought that was funny.
That's hilarious.
Like, again, I could totally see a group of gays doing this.
1,000%.
But again, they're all probably sick in the head gays if they're doing that.
God.
So, yeah,
That was a good one.
that one's funny though.
I really
But
like that.
now I have like the best one where I think we might get into some tension about this one.
Oh.
Okay, gay or sick in the head. This might be a little controversial too.
Okay.
Wearing the softball hair braid to a first date.
Softball hair braid?
You know that like horse girl, softball girl, like,
Oh, like the French braid?
is it a French braid?
I think.
See, I don't have girl hair, so I don't know, but it's probably a French braid. Wearing a French braid on a first date. But I would think of it like they're very much like looking like they came from softball practice vibe. Do you think that means is she gay?
I personally would say
Is
sick
she
in the
sick
head.
in the head?
She's sick in the head for that. Like, this is probably lesbian behavior or bisexual behavior. And it's sick because if you're wearing your softball braid straight to... even if you're not coming straight from practice, why are you wearing a braid to the first date? That's sick. If you think that's cute, and to each their own, I am not the judge of cuteness. However, I literally would never. I would never wear a braid like that to the first date.
That's
And if you think it's cute, you're sick for that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would have to say it's sick in the head.
I didn't really know the answer to this question because I don't have like that kind of hair, but I was just imagining it in my head, and I'm like, that would make me wonder like if a girl pulled up to a date, she was the first one there, she sits at the table, she's waiting for someone to show up,
Whoever.
and you're like, who's gonna show up for this date? She has a softball braid. I'm thinking,
What kind of outfit is she wearing?
is that gay or sick in the head?
I would say it's sick in the head. I would say it's sick in the head across the board. Because if a straight girl if a straight girl or guy wearing a wearing a little softball braid like that, I'd be like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, what?
Imagine a man doing that too.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be
That
even
would be
sicker.
Yeah, that would be really sick.
Well, that's all I have for you, Nevada. I really enjoyed today's gayness and sickness.
Those were good.
I thought they were fun.
You put those together really quick and really nicely. I love that. So today we're going to be talking about the cost of success. We both, I would consider us successful people.
I think if not, well, I think we're successful people for many reasons, but I think if not literally or practically successful. I think our minds and our visions, like we have an
Our perception of ourselves.
Yeah, like our like our
Essence?
self-image and essence is success driven or forward.
Yes.
Like we perceive ourselves to be successful.
Yes. Not only are we literally successful, like, and what are some determinants of success? Like, how would people define success? I mean, I define successful as like, am I living in alignment with what I want to be doing, with my purpose? Am I happy while doing so? And do I love what I do? And am I doing what I want to be doing? Because I could be doing anything, but am I doing what I want to be doing? And if I'm in process of doing that, I think that's success.
I agree with that. To me, the way I think about success for myself is, am I reaching the next level of the things that I want to do? And am I challenging myself to be better? It's sort of hard to describe. I guess it's like, do I feel fulfilled and challenged in my journey? And do I believe that I can accomplish those said things that I want to do? So to me, success is like the art of chasing after your dreams and believing that you can take things like bit by bit. And each bit that you take from it is a little moment of success along the way.
Yes. I like that.
And unfortunately, like in my head, success involves some level of up-leveling. And up-leveling in my mind requires sacrifice in some capacity, or a trade. You're trading at least.
It's at least a trade-off. I like that addition too, because sometimes it's like, okay, we're both so goal driven and success driven and high achievers. So maybe for someone who isn't so driven like that or ambitious, you can be successful doing whatever. Like if you're just happy and you have a roof over your head and food on the table, then you're successful. But for at least someone who is highly ambitious, such as you and I, there is that part, which is the sacrifice and the cost of getting to that higher level that we're going for, because we are always trying to level up and beat the comfortability that we can sometimes find ourselves in, which I feel like I'm a little bit comfortable right now. So I'm trying to get into, like, push myself into my next level of success and finding what that looks like for me. But what comes to mind for you when you think of the cost of success?
I think, I mean, like I would say the ways that I think about the cost of success in my personal life are like the real life examples and ways in which I had to trade or maneuver to get to the place that I am today, and also to get to where I want to get to. Mm-hmm. So I think the ways in which I have achieved a lot of success, I would say, for me would be through schooling and education. Like, I feel like for me, completing medical school was a big success, and that required me trading time, money, effort, relationships, location, and sometimes happiness in the pursuit of knowledge, learning, feeling creative, feeling challenged, and overcoming something that I've always wanted, I guess not always, but have wanted for my life for a long time. So I think while it was worth it, it took 7 years. So there's commitment. That's a trade-off or a sacrifice.
Time.
There was the time that it took to do it. There was the money. I mean, I went $215,000 into debt for it. And there was also a hit to my social life and my relationships where I couldn't be at certain places at certain times because of other commitments that I had to my education, to my, I guess, career field. And now that I've done that, right, now I have the additional secondary level to overcome in my success journey, which is a freedom journey now. Of now that I've done the hard part and I'm established in what I want to do, and I feel like I don't really need to, in terms of like tangible jobs that you can have or jobs that you can apply for. I have no other jobs that I want to apply for other than what I currently do as a PA. And so there's no more education for me. There's no more training or certifications for me other than within my current field. And at this point, now that that's kind of solidified and I'm happy with what I'm doing in the 3D world, I guess you could say, or in the corporate world or whatever, now my goal is to build freedom and to build all those other aspects of life that have always been there, which to me is a different category of success that's also super important. So for me, like, success is me paying off my debt, and success for me is also living a life of freedom. And what do I mean by that? I mean having the ability to choose if I want to work or not. That to me is freedom.
Yes.
Having the ability to say yes or no to jobs. That is freedom. Having the finances to do the things that I want to do. That is freedom.
Yes.
Not being controlled by debt or owing someone else money, and rather having money in my pocket that I can use for things rather than paying interest and fees and like overcharges and late fees and penalties and all the things that come with being in debt, where you're just paying more than you even signed up for and making someone else money. That to me is a level of success, of having the ownership over my own life.
Yes.
And my own decisions and my own mind and my own emotions too. And so now I think that the career part has been solidified, which was a huge sacrifice for the monetary, financial, and practical stability, and just also the fulfillment of helping others. Like, that's always been important to me. And so I think medicine will always be one of the pillars of my life. But now that I'm paying down the debt and am achieving that freedom, it doesn't have to be the cornerstone or the end all be all of my life. It doesn't have to define the entirety of my life. So now I'm able to focus on all the other things in life to me that can bring success, which to me, I feel successful that I don't have anxiety and depression anymore. I feel successful in the ways that I've healed dating relationships and toxic patterns with men. I feel successful in my state of mind and in my level of peace that I carry, and in the words that I use, and in the ways that I'm able to hold space for others and make other people feel at peace as well. I feel like I have a lot of success in coming more into balance with both myself, but also my place in the world or the universe at large, and knowing like where and how I connect and fit in with the world around me, which for me is a lot of bodies of water, communities, people, and the ocean. And so having that connection with the world does bring a level of success for me, to feel like I'm like dialed in to the actual reality of where I exist here on Earth, rather than being connected or attuned to other things. So, but I think with those creative, and even with this podcast and doing creative things on social media and TikTok and having the confidence to put myself out there, feels like a win, and it feels like a success, because I feel like I'm challenging myself to be more bold and brave and vulnerable. And that is hard. And sometimes just doing the things that are hard, or doing things that you feel like other people aren't doing, feels super, super successful. Like, to just be like, wow, I can't believe that I show up in relationships with authenticity and vulnerability,
Yes.
and that when I date and I say the things that I mean, I'm showing up with integrity. And when I say that I'm going to do something in a relationship or in a friendship, I feel like not every time, but most of the time I follow through. And that is something that I'm proud of. And it is something that has taken a lot of work, I guess, to whether it's time alone or whether it's money spent on a therapist or whether it's the gas money to go to the beach and to just sit with my feelings, or whether it is like the cost of being willing to experience painful emotions to go through what I need to go through to find these discoveries about myself. Like, there are consequences and costs and trade-offs with even basic things, even fun things like this podcast. Like, there's a consequence of visibility and being judged and being critiqued and being commented on.
Yes. Being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, it feels you're putting yourself at risk, or just even just out there on a platter, and anybody can comment or say what they want or make their judgments, and that can be scary. And that fear is, or feeling fear about that, could be the cost.
Exactly. And so I think another sacrifice that I have right now is that, I mean, I'm 29 years old, and for me to accomplish these things and for me to do it faster and to try to build the things that I want, which I have a lot more that I have in the works that I almost don't even want to share, because I don't want anybody to know my next move, but I also don't want any of that negative energy clouding my judgment and my belief in myself moving forward, because people are so quick to say that I can and can't do something. But I've already come this far. I went through PA school, and I was the first of anyone I knew to complete a medical program. And I'll also be the first of anyone I know to pay off my medical program debt by myself.
Period.
So take that.
I'm so excited for you. And what, like, how is paying off the debt, what is that costing you?
Oh my gosh. I work 2 jobs. I work a full-time job, and I also work a per diem job. And I also, on top of that, like, feel sometimes like social media is a job, and sometimes like this podcast, it's not as heavy as my other jobs per se, but sometimes it's like a job.
It's a fun job.
It's a fun job. But I feel like I'm at this point like working 5 jobs in my head.
Yeah.
One of which is being hot and sexy, which is a full-time job, of course.
Full-time.
I know you know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And I feel like I'm just working so hard to maintain myself as I am. And the cost is that I'm 29. I live at home. I
Privacy.
Yeah, have a loss of privacy, of autonomy. Like, I'm definitely like would love to be like in my own space and to be like, oh yeah, like I'm a super successful adult. And I am successful, but I'm like hijacking certain opportunities that I have to be even more successful. And some people see that and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of like a secret weapon that I'm using to kind of propel myself forward. But I'm also sacrificing some of like my free time. Like, if I had one job and kind of like took things slower, I would have, or spent more money on experiences, I could be doing so many things. I could be at Coachella right now.
Yeah.
And I chose not to go. I mean, but I was also working, right? So maybe it wasn't even a choice to go. But I guess like I'm sacrificing maybe things that I could potentially afford and using that money towards debt instead of experiences. Not that I'm not experiencing life, but I could be experiencing
way more
right
now. But then later on, experiencing things now would cost you a longer lifespan of living in the life of
debt.
Owing someone money.
And the interest as well.
And the interest, and that stacking up.
It just compounds against me. So those are the major costs that I'm experiencing right now, and sometimes it feels like I'm like hibernating away and maybe not showing all my cards. And I'm planning for things and not talking about it, and I'm at home and I'm like budgeting and financing and working multiple jobs, and I make it seem like I am not tired or like I'm not working really hard, but like it's really hard to energetically wise, like I have to keep the ship running, and like I like will work my 2 jobs. Sometimes I work 5-6 shifts in a row, which I know a lot of people do as well, but like 10-12 hour shifts, 6 in a row, up to like 70 hours a week. And then after work I'm going to the gym, and then like on my days off I'm immediately like driving and going to see friends, or I'm immediately getting off work and filming the podcast. And then in the free time that I do have in like the 30 minutes before bed, I'm like getting creative and posting on my Instagram story. So I feel like I've gotten good at managing it to where it doesn't look like I'm sweating, even though I feel like I'm like constantly sprinting every day. Or not sprinting every day. Like I feel like I guess like, like a track runner, like they sprint so fast, but as an Olympian, to the viewer watching, it's like they don't even look tired when they finish the 100-meter sprint, really.
Yeah. I mean, they're like winded, but they just exerted all that energy, and they could probably like do it again too.
Right.
And I also, when you were talking right now, it made me think of some of the cost of success in my life, because I paid off my student debt and became debt free. Now I do have a little bit of credit card debt. Not even gonna lie, you guys, I'll keep it transparent here. But when I was on my debt free journey from student debt, I was sacrificing. It felt like I was sacrificing social time at times. Like I felt very isolated. It felt like people didn't really understand like why I couldn't just like go out to eat all the time, or like participate in the friend trips, or do this or do that. It felt isolating to be so committed to the goal and not having a lot of people to understand it.
Well, I just like brief comment on that. How would like most people understand that when America is like a subculture of itself, where we're run on being in debt, where a lot of countries maybe aren't? And so even if you talk to international people, they may not really understand like why debt and the society that we live in runs the way that it runs. And even if they do, where their country is slightly similar, right? If you're raised in a similar country, or in a similar mindset, or you're in this country and you're used to being in debt, and that's the norm, when you're paying off your debt and other people are used to having hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars of monthly fixed budgets and obligations that they just have accepted that this is how the rest of their life is going to be.
Oh my God.
How do you break them out of that matrix when so you're paying off your debt, but like their belief is that they're always going to be in debt? So
they've just accepted it.
Of course, when you decline a trip, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because they're in debt and they're going to go on the trip anyway. So why shouldn't you?
Yeah. I also have debt. That would be a thing that I would hear people say a lot, is like, oh, I've just accepted that I'm going to be paying off debt for my whole life. And I'm like, maybe you accept that, but I don't want that to be my reality. And I don't accept that. And that's how I was able to get to where I am, is like not accepting the core belief of this is like how it is for everybody, so this is how it's going to be for me. I like refuse to accept that. And it was a little bit isolating. And even the cost of success, like doing the podcast, like pursuing different creative goals, or dedicating time on the weekends, instead of like always going out with friends or family to do social gatherings, like it can be a energetic cost of like missing out on certain like parts of life, because I just remember when I was paying off debt, that was a lot of sacrifice for me. But even I was gonna say, now with the creative pursuits, it still is a cost sometimes of that social participation, but at the same time, I'm not people pleasing anymore. The cost is it's not always a bad cost, because sometimes the cost for others, it looks like a cost, like, oh, you're missing that on this, like, why don't you come around as often, or like this, that, and the other. But for me, I am not people pleasing anymore, and I don't have to participate in these things. Like, I have a podcast and I'm committed to my creative endeavors, and I'm going to spend a lot of time editing. I'm going to spend a lot of time writing and doing these creative things that are going to push me toward my version of success versus what other people's versions of success looks like. And I feel like a lot of people...
How would you describe the success of being debt-free?
The success of being debt-free, I mean, it's freedom. Like, being debt-free...
Yeah, what does that offer you?
It offers you options. Like, if you aren't paying debt to someone, you have more expendable income to have leisure time, to go on trips, to invest in yourself. I was able to like buy a laptop and podcast equipment, and like I have a camera and lighting and like all this stuff to fill my space, because I don't have freaking debt to pay off anymore. And also I had to freaking sacrifice the privacy as well. I remember me and my ex-boyfriend at the time, we were living on our own, and I had like let's just say $1,200 rent payment, and then like a couple hundred for utilities or whatever. Like, I'm paying $1,500 every month to live with my partner outside of the house. And then eventually there was a time where like he didn't have enough to pay rent. So then him being short on rent that month, I was like, okay, is this going to happen in the future? Because if I'm going to be having to pay more for his portion, like, I have financial goals that I need to reach, which is paying off my debt. And I wasn't debt free at that time. Like, I still had probably $20,000 to $15,000 to go when we were living together. And then I was like, okay, you know what? This situation has come up. I actually think it may be a good move for us to move back with my parents, which like I really didn't want to do. I mean, imagine living with your freaking partner who you're in love with, and you have built this home together. And then all of a sudden this instance was disrupting my path to my goals. So then I was like, okay, I don't want to let him not being able to afford his part of the rent disrupt me from reaching my financial goals. So I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We should move back home. We'll have a lower rent payment. I could put the majority of the money I was paying in rent toward my student loan. Like, I can make additional payments and speed up the process towards debt free and freedom. And then that just sped up everything. But I did have to sacrifice like privacy. Like, it's awkward living with a partner at your freaking parents' house for obvious reasons, but like now I'm like we have roommates, and it sucked, to be honest. Like, it sucked to have to move home, because at the time, like, I was almost willing to sacrifice the privacy for like taking a little bit longer time to pay off the debt. But once I realized like, oh, this may cost me having to sacrifice more of my money for both of us versus like just for me, I was selfish at the time. And it's like, I have goals that I need to reach and I need to do what's best for me. So that's what I had to do.
I love that though. I love how you worded that. And I also have a question though. Would you, because I think another barrier to sometimes doing the hard things financially is sometimes like the embarrassment of, what if people don't think that I can afford this? Or what if people think that what if my partner thinks, or I'm dating someone, they think I'm a loser because I live at home.
Yeah.
Or like, what if people judge me and they think that like I'm afraid to leave home or something like that? Or what if you're embarrassed because you don't have the privacy and you want to be able to have private, intimate moments and then you can't, and you're just like maybe frustrated. Like, do you think,
like, how do you push past that?
I guess like, how do you feel now that that's said and done and that's in the past, but you're debt free? Would you rather have made the sacrifice that you made, or would you rather have not and still be in debt and now be worrying about how you would be making a debt or paying back your student debt, or maybe the interest is even accumulating and you're going further into debt?
Yeah.
While trying to do what you're doing now?
I wouldn't take it back. I would do it again. I would even sacrifice more things at the time. Like, honestly, I would, if I could sacrifice more things, I would have done it. But for me, what was important at the time of like success at that time for me was becoming debt free. So I was like, okay, when I am debt free, I will be successful. So, but I also wanted to live a little. Like, before I became debt free, like, I took me and my parents on a trip to Hawaii and I paid for everything. I took me and my boyfriend on a trip to Italy. I paid for mostly everything. Like, I was able to fit in these fun excursions and like still do what I wanted to do in order to feel fulfilled on my journey to being debt free. And sometimes that meant, okay, I am not going to go out with friends for months because I'm actually saving for a trip, because that's my version of fun. And that's like, I would rather sacrifice time with friends and like eating out or whatever. Or maybe I'd hang out with friends, but we just do free things. Like, I don't always need to like be going out and eating and spending money, but and then also like the cost of being a little bit vulnerable. I had to be vulnerable at the time, like with my friends, and be like, look, like, I am not spending money. Like, sometimes it would be so painful to be like, people would invite me out to like eat at, let's just say, In-N-Out. In-N-Out costs literally $10. I would be counting every single fucking dollar in order to meet my payment goals. So I would be like, I can't afford to eat out right now. You can't afford to eat out for a $10 meal. I cannot. And that felt embarrassing to be able to, like, to have to say, like, I can't afford it. But it wasn't even so much that I can't afford it, because like I was making more than enough money to be able to afford.
See, but what
In-N-Out.
Some financial people say though is, if you're in debt or you're going into debt in like your current model of life, can you really afford it?
If you're going to debt in your current model of life, can you afford it? Like, what do you mean?
What I'm trying to say is that people will pretend like they can afford things and will instead get themselves into more and more debt because they have the itch or the need to appear a certain way or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so like you said, like, oh, I could afford it, but I'm just
choosing different.
I'm just hypothesizing it, counter hypothesizing against you. Can you really afford things if you're going into debt?
Yeah. So then that it becomes a choice. Like, I am choosing, like, I could afford this, but I'm choosing to pay it off instead. And also, I think there is something to be said about like the cost of going into debt, because now as someone on the other side who's become debt free and I don't have a super stable income, I have leaned on credit cards to be able to afford certain things in my lifestyle. I don't think I'm going crazy, but I'm willing to pay this cost of going into a little bit of credit card debt in order to have the freedom of time to meet different goals. Like I wouldn't be able, I don't know. It's like, it's a weird and vulnerable thing to talk about. And I think there is a lot of shame around like being in debt and credit card debt and student debt. Like debt is really ruling a lot like over people's lives. But for me, the greater cost would be staying in a job and like literally hating my life and like staying another 6 months at a job where like I literally got so drained of my life force that maybe I had these savings, but like I spent the last 6 months hating my life, not creating anything, not having energy to create anything. And for me, the cost of going into a little bit of credit card debt for me is personally nothing compared to the cost of putting off my creative endeavors.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Like debt, going into like a little bit of credit card debt to me right now means literally nothing, because if I weren't to be pursuing my creative endeavors and like having the ability to creatively express myself, and I do have buffers, like I live at home with my parents, I am still sacrificing certain things like privacy, like I don't know, like sometimes I leave the house and my parents are like, oh, where are you going? And it's just like, okay, well, what if I'm going on a date, or what if I'm going out, or like what if I'm going out and slow and like getting lit? Like I just don't want to have to answer to, you know, everything. And living at your parents' house can feel a little bit like a fishbowl sometimes, because I'm just here, and if I'm having like a bad day, maybe I don't want to be asked like what's wrong, maybe I just want to like go through the motions, but it's a sacrifice of privacy. But again, like I have a creative office studio, I'm able to record, I'm able to do my creative projects, and that to me is like absolutely worth everything that some people may look at as a cost or like a sacrifice. But for me, it's like absolutely worth it.
1000%. And I love that you touched on the life force aspect and the fact that certain decisions in life can totally be not worth it, the sacrifice. Like it brings me back to when I was working night shift in LA and I was living in North Hollywood. Absolutely did not like North Hollywood. Absolutely learned through that experience that night shift sucked the life out of me. And it honestly did bring me to that place of what you're talking about, where it feels like now it's like pulling on your essence of a human being.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the point where I'm like, okay, that's where I broke down and moved back here to regroup and build up my finances, because one, it felt like debt was ruling my life and limiting what I could and couldn't do. And I do not like to be told what to do, especially by the government or by like an entity that I can't even conceptualize. Like FAFSA controlling my life. Like what even is FAFSA? Nelnet? SoFi? Like
I don't even know what those are.
It's like a conglomerate like being.
Like
it's like an entity, you know? It's like
like I know nothing about these people or entities or organizations.
Like I don't want these things to dictate and say like we're in America, the land of the free, yet like the government is controlling me because I'm in debt to them. Yeah. Super free.
It's not.
So I was like, I literally feel brainwashed. I feel stuck. Like going to Mexico, I'm seeing how people there felt like free and fluid and not maybe like so tied down to things that I felt that I was in that moment. And it like broke my mental sanity in that moment. I was like, ah! Like, how dare you have everything that I like, the mental, how dare you carry the spirit of living that I want to embody in my personal life. That's what I want to say on that. And it was that, right? Like the debt controlling my life, but then it was also the night shift affecting my mood, on top of the city not being meant for me of North Hollywood specifically. Whereas maybe I could have been happier if I was day shift in Santa Monica, and maybe if I made like double what I made at my last job, or like, you know, there's so many what ifs, but
Yeah.
it just, like you said, the life force part. Oh, like that is a sacrifice I think I'm not willing to make for success, unfortunately.
I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. And another sacrifice that I thought of that I think a lot stops a lot of people, or people don't like to sacrifice the potentiality of failure. People don't want to sacrifice their ego or looking silly or looking stupid for trying. People do not want to try.
I think that also stops people from being successful in relationships as well.
Oh God. I'm like, what? Let's circle back to this. Let's circle back to this, because that is so true.
People don't sometimes people don't show up in friendships, dating, relationships, because they feel that putting themselves out there and trying and caring about someone and getting their feelings hurt is a failure and a weakness. And their ego is so like crushed by the fact that they do care that people develop insecure and unhealthy dating attachments to cope with their fear and their fragile ego. And that's how you get anxious attachment, avoidant attachment.
I'm like, are you clocking me right now?
I'm not even talking about you.
No, I know.
But I probably am talking to someone.
If you are wondering if this is about you, maybe it is. But I completely feel like it's scary to put yourself out there. It's in any capacity, but especially like romantically, because there is that cost of like time, of vulnerability, being seen, being authentically yourself. I think a lot of that bleeds into when you're pursuing something that you want to pursue, and maybe other people just don't get it. They just don't understand like why for you. Okay, like let's just say when I was like sacrificing like different things for the debt payoff journey,
1000%,
people did not understand it, and sometimes they would like be upset by it, and they're like, oh, why can't you just like go, like it's not that much money, or like why can't you go? But it's just like, because I have a goal and like I'm committed to these things. And sometimes people may even get upset because they have goals that they want to reach, but they're not willing to make that sacrifice because they are people pleasers. And a lot of people would literally rather die people pleasing than ever stand up for themselves and what they want to do with their life.
Oh, that's a big one. And I also think that people are sometimes not willing to sacrifice their image or their perception in the pursuit of their success. Like they're willing to die on the hill of like, well, I'm a person who's successful, strong, and independent, and so I couldn't move back home because then now people will perceive me as someone who has to rely on others for help. And I'm completely self-sufficient and so amazing and great. So sometimes I think people are so stubborn in the ways in which they so desperately crave to be viewed.
Oh my gosh.
That they're still abiding by like, there's still that little kid in the corner from elementary school like hoping to make friends. They're just like hoping the teacher will validate them for doing a good job today. And it still affects them as a grown-ass adult.
They are trying so hard to stay in that perception that they want to be seen as, instead of just being real or being vulnerable or maybe taking a chance or even admitting I need help. It wasn't fucking fun to move back home and like be like, oh, like my ex couldn't afford the rent, like now I have to fucking move back home, and now people are probably gonna think that I can't afford rent, or that like I'm irresponsible with my money because I'm living at home with my parents, and when I would just had my own apartment in my own name, like out here in Arroyo Grande. But now people are gonna think I'm a fucking failure because I'm moving back with my parents now, and maybe people think I'm still a failure because I don't have a job, maybe I have some credit card debt, and I'm still living at home, and I don't like There's so many
But
ways.
see how all those narratives are controlling?
Those are controlling narratives, and those are also like narratives that you probably just make up in your mind. Like the worst case scenario.
Imaginary. Yeah, they're also imaginary as well.
These are imaginary narratives that you are living your life in, like as if it's the law.
Ugh,
And it's not law. It's made up. And it's like maybe people think I'm delusional for being myself and like going for what I want and thinking I can be successful. But I think it's delusional to never try or to like convince yourself that by living in other people's standards of success or like other people's views of success, that you're successful because that's what other people maybe think about you. Maybe if they're thinking of you at all, because guess what, they're probably not. And that's the thought that keeps me going, is like, so yeah, what if other people think I'm a failure because I live at home with my parents still and I'm almost 30? What if people think I'm a failure because I threw away a perfectly good 9-to-5 job to go into some credit card debt after just getting debt free with my student debt? Like maybe people think that, but I don't really think about what people think of me anymore.
Oh,
because
okay, sister.
Because I think good thoughts of me, but that took a lot of work to like put those thoughts of myself and change my self-image and concept that I am successful, even though by other people's standards I could be considered a failure because of my circumstances.
See, but that right there I feel is the essence of the cost of success that we're talking about in this episode.
Wow. And on that note, thanks for listening. Gosh, I feel like this has been, I'm like, we're not even at an hour yet. This has been such a productive conversation.
No, I think we like genuinely have hit so many modes, themes, topics, and also personal relatable examples that just hit home for so many people. And I also wanted, because the idea came into my head, that also this idea that to try or to care is a failure or a hit to your ego or a hit to your image, I think is one of the most unfortunate, controlling, and devastating myths and lies that this generation has bought into, because there's such a trend of like, I'm not gonna try for that, like even with the ways that I'm gonna say, like, even with the ways that like Gen Z dances at the club, like they're so afraid of being embarrassed or being too much
or looking like a fool
or trying like the way that millennials or Gen X would try or whatever. And I think even millennials to an extent are even sometimes afraid to put themselves out there as well.
Yeah.
Even if they do dance at the club, right? And I do think it's one of the greatest crimes that we're committing in dating culture, in friendships, and in school, and in having fun, and in presenting our true personality, is that the like our generation and below is so, like, whether they like to admit it, so desperately afraid of actually trying for what they want that they have to hide behind the fact and like blame other people for being like too much or too try hard, when like, and it even reflects like in TikTok dances where sometimes like the trends are like to not try during the dance, and
or
I'm
to
like,
make it look as like effortless as possible. It's almost like they're not even effortless or lacking all effort at all. So I'm like, what the fuck is this dance?
and I think that's affecting also things like commitment, and it's affecting things like integrity, and it's affecting consistency and emotional availability.
I would love to talk on another episode about like the cost of like almost romantic success, or like the cost to
be successful romantically.
Yes.
Or like in your dating or interpersonal life. Yeah, 1000%.
Or even like the cost of like being vulnerable, or like what it's like that, because that like everything you're saying right now, like that just reminds me of what it is like to be vulnerable in relationships, because yeah, people do have commitment issues, or like there's so much out there that people think that because there's so many options, they can just have anything at any time and there's access to all these options. But really, you still have to like make a choice at some point, and you still have to sacrifice some things,
which is also like another version of a lie. But yeah, that was really just a kind of like a greater underlying cultural significance, is that while I feel that people are not willing to try for their, or put it like, I think not willing to put effort into things is a limiting factor of success. And I think not willing to make those risks is a limiting factor of success. But I also think some of the underlying beliefs behind it is so much bigger than this topic as well.
Yes.
And that was just the one thing that I wanted to like highlight, is that I see that mentality a lot in this conversation and out of it.
I think the note that I would like to leave off on for anybody who's maybe considering or debating your costs and like what you're willing to sacrifice for your success is just, one, getting clear on what success looks like for you, because that's really important when you're determining what you're going to sacrifice. If success for you is having like a happy life, being surrounded by people you love, and having food on the table, you're not going to be making the same sacrifices as someone who's wanting to become a world-renowned podcaster extraordinaire, or let's just say even a singer. Like a singer is probably going to be like writing songs, like maybe not spending time with family. Maybe they're like isolating themselves and sacrificing this time and energy, but they're making their music.
Right.
But they need that space to make the music. And those two lives are going to have different sacrifices. So get clear, number one, on what your version of success is, so that then you can determine like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Is it time? Is it money? Is it social suicide? Like, or your version of what you think, your concept of what people could think about you. Just thinking about that, I would love to encourage anybody out there to also just go for, like, it's okay to sacrifice things. I think now in today's world, there's a lot of like ease, and everybody wants to be effortless, and everybody wants to have like even just going to the grocery store. Like we were talking about going to the grocery store yesterday. Like I love going to the grocery store because it's something like it's a way I love to participate in life. But other people, they'll sacrifice convenience. Like maybe they'll pay for a DoorDasher for convenience of not having to like go out and like brave the crowds. So like for me, I'd rather just like go out and spend the time and spend like the effort going and finding those things. But maybe for someone, they're willing to like pay a little more for DoorDash or whatever. But that's what I would love to leave off on.
I would say that nobody has it all, and that not everything, but everyone has to make sacrifices. That's a human being. And so given that that's our reality, I just would really want to encourage people to make sure that you're making the sacrifice that's in the pursuit of your best interest and your best self. So I like what Nevada said about being clear on your intention. I think it's really it's really important to be clear in who you are as a person and what it is that you're working and building towards, and what the vision of yourself looks like, and being honest and sitting with yourself and identifying what it is that you truly want. And for me and for you going out there and being your most successful self in the things that you are called and led to do, those are the sacrifices that are going to be the most rewarding and the most influential, but the best investments that you can make for yourself as well. And so that's really what I would encourage people to do, is to be brave. I would really encourage people to be brave and to be honest and to lead with their heart and to not let these outside worldly things or other people's visions for their life deter them from meeting their own version of success. And also to not be embarrassed or
let the embarrassment or fear of embarrassment stop you.
Yes. Or to, like, the honesty part for me is like, if you want to do something that is so cringe or embarrassing, or something that maybe other people think is small, but it's really what you want to do, just do it.
Just do it. And also, the cost is absolutely worth it.
The cost is 1,000% worth it.
The cost of success is worth it, I believe. It's worth it if it's your version of success. Yeah, I think we ate that up. Oh my God. I don't think you guys are hungry for anything else.
I think you're going to be okay without food for a good 40 days, babe.
You ate a big meal today.
We ate.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We're so grateful for your support. And if you're not already following us, please give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at
Big in a Small Town Podcast.
Oh yeah, baby. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.